Welcome everyone to the latest coffee break webinar by RIB CostX. My name is Francesca Nottingham and I am a Costex consultant in RIB software. As you can see on screen, this month's topic will be coding and sorting. So when dealing with your workbooks within Costex, you can insert codes in order to sort your information into a new structure. This assists in identifying costs in certain areas and sorts data from one format to another. Code libraries are saved to your system administration and can be accessed the same way as all your other data in your libraries. For those of you who don't know what Costex is, or for those who have never used it, Costex is a fully integrated measuring and estimating solution with universal applications, supporting everything from hand-drawn sketches to PDFs, DWGs, all the way through to 3D models, BIM files and everything in between. As we can see from this matrix, RIB CostX is available in a variety of licenses, ranging from offering all functionality to a fairly limited option depending on your estimating requirements. Delving deeper into each functionality, let's look at the components, breaking down how each of them are cohesive with one another, bringing you an all-in-one service. You have your takeoff options to start with, whether you're using 3D BIM or 2D drawings. Costex provides accurate data, enabling you to utilise this data within your workbook. So our workbooks are just like Excel spreadsheets, but they are our own version. They still have the ability to use formulas and functions, making them very easy to navigate and use. We then have revisions tracking. Now this offers an accurate method of comparing a previous revision with a new one, giving you multiple ways to highlight, identify and quantify any changes, meaning you're always up to date with the latest cost implications. Once you've completed your estimate, you then have the opportunity to produce a report. Now we offer various standard report templates for you to use. Alternatively, you can customise your own report, producing a professional quality output. Don't forget to check out our RIB CostX YouTube channel where we upload our coffee break webinars, and you can also subscribe so you get notified of the latest videos and kept up to date with the newest features and how-to videos. So this month's webinar, as previously mentioned, we will be reviewing coding and sorting. Firstly, let's talk about what we mean by coding and sorting. So this is essentially a way in which we can follow a code structure, like a standard method of measurement, for example, and sort our workbook in a way that follows this structure. We do this using code libraries. Now, code libraries are a list of code arranged in a structure in order for us to use within our workbooks. How do I insert them? Well, we can insert a code library directly within the system, or we can import them into the system via a CSV file. Can I edit a code library? Yes, you can. It doesn't have to be one that is from an industry standard. It can just be one that you have created, and this can be edited and updated when required. How do I sort my workbook using coding? So this is what we will take you through in this video, but it's essentially the same as any other Costex library, where you pull across the information from the codes tab onto the workbook, and then there's a process to go through to sort it. So there are a couple of things to note as we go along. So you can import them into the system from an Excel spreadsheet. The spreadsheet just needs to be saved as a CSV file, as mentioned before. Multiple code libraries are available on the tech web, so please make use of that where you can. It's a very handy tool. You just log on to our tech web using your serial number, and then go to samples and downloads, and you can locate the code libraries that you need. So they also have infinite levels, meaning that you can design them exactly how you need them. So the code libraries don't need to be set up as an industry standard. They can be whatever you want them to be or whatever you need them to be. The possibilities are limitless. The infinite levels mean that you can keep going as much as you need to and produce exactly the code library that you want. So you are limited to 50 characters per code, so this is something to bear in mind when creating your libraries. So let's take a look at coding and sorting. So to start with, let's have a look at how we would go about inserting a code library. So we firstly just need to access our system administration. We can do this by being within the home ribbon and select system administration and then go to code libraries. You can also go to your file tab and select system administration, select the costing tab and then go to code libraries. So I already have a collection of code libraries within my system already. If I wanted to insert a new one, I would simply just press insert here. And then I just need to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it elemental codes. And then if I press insert, that saves that code library for me. So it's appeared here within my list. If we take a look at an existing one, so I'm just going to use a local one. Let's go to NRM1 3rd edition elemental codes, and I can double click this or press edit to open it up to see what it looks like. So you can see that there are quite a few different codes within this, and you can see that codes can be nested to an infinite number of levels. You can go down as far as you want to or as far as you need to in order to build up your code library, as you can see. So I'll come out of this and then we can go back into the one we've just created and select edit. So every time you generate a new code library, the name of it is mandatory and it has a limitation of 50 characters. What we're going to do is just create what we would call a parent code within this code library, so I can show you exactly how you would start to build up your code library if you were going to do it in the system. So you just come over here to press this insert button, and you want to leave the parent field blank because there are no parents at the moment. This is what we're creating now. So I'm just going to create just a simple one. I'm going to give it a code of C, and then in the description field I'm going to pop in interior finishes. Now the description field is mandatory and it's also limited to 50 characters. So then you just want to click insert. And as you can see, I've now got my code here and my description here, and this is now my parent code. Now, if I wanted to add a child to this, I simply just press add child. So have this selected, press add child, and it's already populated my parent folder. I can obviously select from the drop down if I had more. And then within here, I'm just going to pop a child example. So let's call this one E10, and then a description of interior walls. I'll then click insert, and as you can see, it's created a little nest here, allowing me to have put a child to the parent category. So you can add another child to this. So if I click on add child again, so I've selected the child I've just created, I'm going to select add child again. And once again, it's populated the parent folder with what I already selected here. And here I'm just going to put E10.01. And I'm going to add in an example of timber framed partitions, and then insert. Now you can keep going with this. There's infinite levels, so it doesn't matter how many you have, you can just keep going. If you wanted to insert a new parent, you just simply press insert here, and then each time press the add child button if you want something on a level underneath that. Now within this management system, we can edit, so we can go back in, and if we want to change anything we can do so. So I'm going to put here excluding linings, and then update, and then that's obviously updated here. You can also delete items, so if I wanted to delete this one, I can do so. You can also use your move up, move down buttons here. You actually need a longer list in order to do this. We don't have enough in here, so that's why they're greyed out. But the idea of this is every time you generate a workbook with codes, then the codes are going to follow the same structure that's in the code library. So if you wanted to mix that up a bit, you can do so using these buttons. So if I come out of here, then I've still got it in my list there, and when I go to edit it, it's obviously kept the information that I populated it with. Now, another way in which to add a code library is if we import one from a CSV file. So if you have existing codes in an Excel spreadsheet, the easiest way to bring them in is to save it as a CSV file, and then just click import, go to the drop down menu here and select import code library from CSV. Let me show you what a Excel code library looks like. I'll just open this up. Now, this is the same as the NRM1 3rd edition elemental codes that I showed you earlier. So the way in which this is generated is we need to have the codes in column A. We also need to have the category or the parent in column B. So as you can see, I've got my top parent here, and it's the same, goes the same all the way through every time there's a new heading. We've then got in column C the heading for this category, which is also going to be a parent. And then each time you add a child to this, you just go to the next cell or the next column along. And you can see it follows the same pattern, and the codes are also in correspondence to that each time. And you can see how it's built. So if I go back to my Costex and go into NRM1, we can see that it follows exactly the same levels as we had in our CSV file. Once again, if I wanted to import that, I would just go to my drop-down menu and import code library from CSV, and then it would just take me to my file explorer, and I would just locate where that item is. So now that we know how to manage our code libraries, let's go about pulling them across to our workbook. So I'm just going to close my system admin now. And I've already got a workbook that I've been working on open. It follows the structure of NRM1, and I've already populated it with my quantities and my rates, giving me my complete workbook. So if you notice, I've used my user columns and changed the names of those to suit what codes I'm going to use. So I've got user column 1 as package, user column 2 as section, column 3 as ICMS, and column 4 as NRM. Now, there aren't many codes on this level. I believe there's only a few. But what I can do is go down a few more levels and show you that I have actually populated them on level 2. So in my package, I've used my NRM2 trade codes. I've also developed some section codes. So this is in relation to if it's narrative, if it's a cost relating to site, if it's related to a particular building, or if it's a project cost. And then ICMS just follows quite simply the ICMS codes here, and then NRM follows my NRM1 codes, which I showed you earlier. So I've already populated these with items from my code library, but if you wanted to actually select your items for level 1, it's literally just as simple as picking them up and dragging them across. So for example, if I wanted to pull across my section cost for this major demolition works, for example, if I wanted to pull across my section code, I would simply just go to my project section codes, and I would say that is in my site cost. So I'm just going to pick this up and pop it in that cell there. And you just go through your whole workbook, populating all the cells with the necessary codes that you need. And the benefit of this is then you can actually start to sort your workbook in a certain way. So if I have made my workbook this way, so I've obviously used the structure of NRM1, but if I wanted to group it another way in terms of package, for example, I can do so by generating a new workbook based on this one, sorted via that column. Now I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So we simply just need to go to our workbooks ribbon. We're then going to select the add button. Now this has two halves. The top half will simply just add a plain or blank workbook. The bottom half is a drop-down menu. So now in this menu, I've got the opportunity to generate a workbook grouped by code, and that's the one I want to select. Now a new window's popped up, and I can actually tell Costex exactly what I want to see in this workbook that I am generating. So I'm going to give it a name of trade estimate. And I'm also going to select a few options here. So it says subsheets to sort. So it's basically asking me here if I want to sort the cost sheets only, or the cost and quantity sheets and the cost and rate sheets. Now this is important to define because you might have coded your items on quantity sheets or rate sheets, in which case you would need to include those. I have actually only included my codes on my cost sheet, so I'm just going to select the first one here. Now down here is where we define where certain items are going to go. So on my workbook level 1, I would like it to basically follow the format of my NRM2 trade codes there. I need to tell it which level to take that information from. So in this section, you're basically telling Costex which level of the code library that you want to go to. Now, I know that this one only has one level, so it's only going to give me an option of level 1. And then it's also asking me which column to grab this information from. Now, I have popped it in my user column 1, so my package column there. So I'm just going to select that one. So I'm going to click OK now, and then it's going to generate a brand new workbook over here. And it's going to have sorted it in the trade estimate codes, basically giving me an idea on resource to let me know which items fall into which trade package. This is obviously helpful if you want to send this out for tender or any comparisons that you're doing. As you can see, it's exactly the same workbook. It's just taken the items that were involved in those codes. So as you can see, we've now got our trade packages, and everything that was within those certain codes has now been populated into each of these items. Now, if I go back to the original workbook, what I can also do is define the sections. So if I wanted to know my totals for the site costs or my total project costs, for example, or my level 1, I can do that. So I just need to do the same thing again. So I'm just going to go to my add button, generate workbook group by code. And then this time I'm just going to call this one section costs. And then what I'm going to do is just leave my subsheets to sort as cost sheets only, just because once again, I've only populated my codes on the cost sheets and not my quantity or my rate sheets. And now down here, I just need to tell Costex which code library to get that information from. So mine is called project section codes, which is this one that we can see over here. That actually goes down to level 2. So I've got project section codes is my level 1 there, and then sections is level 2. So that's where it knows where to get the information from. And then I've got code column here, which I'm going to tell it is column J, because that's where my codes are. And then I just need to select OK. And then once again, it will generate a new workbook in the order that I've told it. So my section costs. So my level 1 will just have a few items, and my level 2 will have a bit more information. So as we can see, I've split it out as to what I needed. So I know that my site costs are this much. I know my building 1 is a total of 10 million, and anything uncoded falls into this category. So this just demonstrates that it is important to make sure that everything you want coded is coded so that it falls into a category. And then it's going to give you what you need. So depending on what sort of summary you need as your level 1, can be defined when you are generating a new workbook grouped by code. So this concludes our coding and sorting coffee break webinar. Thank you very much for listening, and hopefully this has given you an idea as to the benefits of using code libraries and how to add them yourself, how to manage them, how to import them, and also how to utilize them. So once again, thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our channel to keep updated with the latest how-to videos and new features, and give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful.